Member Dahlman,
Present.
Member Wex.
Present.
And Chair Hunter.
Present.
Okay, so members Kerouac, Deegan, and Strata are absent, but we have a quorum.
Oh, good. Okay, the minutes of the last meeting. Anybody have any comments, corrections, et cetera?
I do. I just wanted to clarify, I thought I remembered that we decided that the subcommittee was going to review basically all the finishes, including the fence finish, and I noticed in the minutes, it indicated that the black fence was approved, and I was thinking that we had just approved the fence type and height, but all finishes were going to be finalized with the subcommittee.
Well, the subcommittee did.
Oh, all right. I just wanted to make sure, because in the minutes, it was just saying the black fence, and I wanted to make sure
We
that,
finished it, gave it to Taylor,
oh, good.
and he made a presentation, I believe, to a meeting at the park board last night, which was sort of the beginning of one of 4 meetings for master planning of the whole beach project.
Oh, good, all right.
So I was not able to go. Matt said he was going to go. I don't know
Yeah.
whether he did or not. So anyway.
Excellent. I think he mentioned it to me,
so-
that he was
Okay,
going.
well, anyway, so that answers that question, I think. So any other comments? Because we're still on minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You weren't here.
I wasn't here, so I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
okay,
comment.
so come on, one of you guys. Did somebody make a motion to approve?
Yeah, I move to approve as submitted.
Okay,
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving right along, non-agenda items and visitors, anybody in here or in the wonderful land of TV that is not on the agenda? Do we have anybody, Mike?
There's no one on Zoom.
Okay, so as chairman, I'm suggesting that we change some of the order of this meeting with the sign permit for Robert McClory Bike Path being number 1, the extension for the sprinkler exemption, number 2, and the discussion of the Green Bay Ridge, we'll do that last, if that's okay. That's gonna take more time, I think, than the other 2. So, number 1, I assume Kathy, that's you. The sign. That's me. You want me to go up? Whoever, otherwise I don't think you'd be here, so.
No, those years are gone. Happily. Okay, we are, Mark Dewart and I are the co-chairs.
You gotta state your name,
Oh,
because nobody knows who you are.
Kathy O'Hara. I am co-chair, along with Mark Dewart, of the 250th centennial for the village. We are calling it Celebrate 250th Lake Bluff Style. The emphasis is on Lake Bluff's contributions to the 250 years. So we have many activities and things going on. But one of the things that we wanted to do was to have a piece of permanence, okay? For the 100th anniversary of the United States in 1876, we were pretty new back then, but we put a Boulevard Street in, which is why Center Avenue is the only Boulevard Street we have. It's because of the celebration for 1876. And in 1976, for the 200th, we volunteered and we put together the gazebo, which was the memorial. I'm sure you remember that one. I didn't ask you to remember the 1876. Even I don't remember that. All right, so, but we are putting together a permanent memorial signage for Robert McClory. It came to our attention that we had this whole Robert McClory bike path, but there's no really mention of him, who he was, why it is named for him, and he played a significant role locally and nationally also. So we are looking to, I think you have the dimensions there with you, I didn't bring anything with me, of what they would be. I think it's like, what, 45 by 45, something around that inch. Okay, it will be on both sides. We are looking to place it where, for the 125th, we have that, what do we call that, a bike repair station that we have across the street over there. So we thought that would be an appropriate spot for it. And I'm assuming you don't need a history lesson. Everybody knows who Robert McClory was? Okay.
I'd go for a history lesson.
Okay, all right. I'll give you a short one.
Okay.
Robert McClory was very prominent as a civic leader here since about 1940. He was village attorney. He was scoutmaster. He was elected to both the Illinois Senate and the Illinois House, and he was elected to 10 terms as a congressman from Illinois, Republican. He's also significant for 1974 during the Watergate issue. He was significantly important in helping to persuade that it would be in the best interest of the nation. And he was a good friend of Richard Nixon, that bipartisanship and he would resign. In fact, he and two other men who were very instrumental in getting Mr. Nixon to decide to step down, he made the cover of Time magazine. So he's credited with that. He also had, in 1960s, significant contributions to the Civil Rights and Medicare Acts that were passed in 1965, and also really promoted environmental and clean air, one of the early proponents of that. So we felt he was worthy enough to be recognized. He died in 1988. So that's what we're asking for, is their input on a sign that we have mocked up there, and would like to have it, and we're hoping to have it by the 4th of July.
Okay.
Any questions?
Stu, any comments? Anybody?
I think it looks great. Does it show anywhere how it's anchored into the ground? Does it have like a pedestal, or is it?
It'll be a pole, a pedestal, and it'll all come pre-assembled.
Okay.
And our folks, our public works people will put it together in the ground.
Art?
I'm just a tiny bit confused. There's, these other signs here, are they just included for
I don't know, what did Drew put in there?
We have the bridge.
samples of?
Samples, I think.
I think they're probably just samples.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
And the,
Are you Drew Irvin? I know you're Drew Irvin.
I included, excuse me, hi, Drew Irvin, Lake Bluff Village Administrator. I included in the packet the examples of other signs that were not blue, but rather black with the brushed silver lettering. The sign is made of aluminum, it's painted, and they cover the letters, and then they reveal them, and they're the same aluminum color, natural color, but with brush marks on them. And I think the question was debating was the color blue or
What's
black.
the color?
Yeah.
We had originally thought it'd be nice to have a dark blue, and felt that was kind of nice. And Drew suggested, well, we might want to go to black. So we're asking for your advice. Or comments, or any concerns.
I do have questions on the colors. I don't know if it's intended to be like this. Most of the colors are white, but some are gray, and then the O is white and the T is
No, I
white.
think that that's just the way that was printed out. They will be silver.
They'll all be silver,
My
okay.
understanding is yes. Whether it's a blue sign or whether it's a black sign, it will be blue. And the logo of our 250th committee will be at the top.
The black part that's around the edge, I assume that's part of the sign? I couldn't tell whether that's intended to be a shadow line or,
Which one did you say?
It's my understanding that it's one piece, and that
and it
the,
includes this black part.
and my understanding is it would be all one color, the pole, everything would be
Everything is one
monochrome,
color.
other than the letters, which would be aluminum colored.
Yeah.
Whether it's a blue color or black color, it's, other than the letters and the logo at the top, it's all black or blue.
And one concern, you just confirmed good things.
Okay, good.
The one question I do have is, I like the idea of being a part of the Lake Bluff celebrating 250, but the patch up there just doesn't seem to fit with everything else. You know, nothing about Robert McClory. It goes for 80 years, but it doesn't go up to today. It doesn't
Well, it's
go-
not supposed to, Neil.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
but
It's-
that's
it's-
why this doesn't seem,
Well, because it
To me,
is,
it
it
doesn't
is
seem
the
to work.
250th committee that is doing this.
Gifting it.
And gifting this to the village.
oh, I understand that.
Right.
It's still, to me, it just doesn't seem to fit.
Okay, did you have something else to say, Art?
The only thing I thought was the red and the white of that section that,
Yeah.
the logo there. I don't know, the red seems to trouble me in terms of the overall appearance, but
Okay.
but otherwise, that's
Yeah.
the only comment
So,
I have.
my turn then? So, I'm guessing that this bracketing around the sign itself is to strengthen the base of the sign. So, so I don't really have a problem with that in itself.
Mr. Chairman? Hey, just to clarify the concern, that my understanding is that the logo can match the balance of the sign and just be reversed, you know, in terms of black and silver, just like the rest of the sign, if that presents too much of a hurdle.
Like on the second page.
Or
No,
or it would
not the
just,
logo.
it would appear like, similar to the text. It would just be, the logo would appear raised and be silver, brushed silver versus the multicolored on the white base.
Yeah, so it would all be, there would be no white. My first impression when I saw this is, boy, what a great sign, and it looked like a decal stuck on the top. So I think what you just described is not necessarily where you guys wanted to go, because it's not as obvious, but I think it's more consistent with the sign and doesn't necessarily shout out.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
we're
that,
all right with that, Bob. I don't want to give you hurt.
yeah, I'm not heartburn. I'm too old for heartburn now, I just go. I just go.
I'm right with you there.
So,
It could also be a picture of Bob McClory.
that gets hard to do on a sign.
What is? No harder than that.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Right, that's really kind of not what we're.
I don't think anybody remembers what he looked. He looked Ford on,
Probably put Mickey Mouse on there and they think that.
anyway, so what does everybody think? Yeah, shaking your head, what does that mean?
I think that, I agree, I like the more subtle, idea.
It's part of the sign.
With the logo.
Yeah, but I think overall, I think it's lovely. And the color, I think there's a precedent for the blue because we have the blue, you know, entrance signs and everything. So I think the blue is nice. I think it'd be equally fine in black. Like, I could go either way on that.
For a point of reference, we went around and looked at the other bronze signs
Yeah.
around town, or bronze-ish signs,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of consistency, right? There's some black ones, there's some brown ones, there's some black, and so it's,
Kind of all
We
over.
got a red one across the
And-
street, so.
Yeah.
right, exactly. We talked about that too. And our conversation and my counsel to the group was in proximity to the bike repair station where there's the black painted metal, that this would appear more in harmony
Oh,
with
so
all
maybe
that.
the black, yeah.
Yeah.
I think either one is,
Yeah.
I would have no problem with it, because it's very dark blue, so either way, I think they're both tasteful.
Any other comment? Art? So, somebody needs to make a motion with whatever we've decided?
I'm terrible at motions.
Well, I'm a little unclear exactly what we decided, but I'm in favor of whatever we decided. Don't get me wrong. But,
Me too, Art.
We get stuff done, see?
I agree with Art.
but the question I had was just how to phrase,
Yeah,
we're doing a black background.
we're gonna do black. All
Dark
right,
blue.
I'm good with black.
Dark blue or black?
Right, which is it, black or blue?
I think a dark blue.
I can go, I can
That
go
was where
either-
you,
We originally wanted.
that's your first
my
choice.
preference would be the blue.
Yeah, and since you're paying for it, you
All
get to
right.
say something
Yeah.
about it.
So it's blue. And then
Yeah.
how does the Celebrate 250 logo?
That is just
it's
part of
gonna be more-
the same script.
Yeah, what part of it, so all the letters are the brushed aluminum
Probably the letters in the,
Right, so it's reversed, so
and the
background is-
gazebo is brushed aluminum?
Right,
yeah,
yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
so it's part of the whole sign.
So it'd be like this except inverse?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say so, yeah.
It'd be inverse, it'd be just like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the outline would be the brushed silver, basically against the solid background.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
That's
So
nice.
I move that it be approved, blue background, and that the Celebrate 250 logo would likewise be blue and brushed aluminum.
Okay. Okay, roll call.
Okay. Member Wicks,
Aye.
Member Dahlman,
I know what we're talking about. Yes, aye.
Member Cottrell,
Aye.
and Chair Hunter.
Yes,
Motion passes.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a great, great thing you guys do. Okay. Next is the consideration of time extension for the fire sprinklers at the Park District. Don?
Hello, John Beeler, Lake Bluff Park District. Thank you for putting this on the agenda. Thank you for reordering the agenda this evening. As you might recall, we were here requesting a few sprinkler exceptions back in the fall, which were approved by this board, as well as an extension for installing the new sprinkler system on the clubhouse. Had we spent a little bit more time researching it and looking into it, we should have asked for an extension for the year, not for 3 months. Really wasn't realistic. After it was approved, the Park District hired WT Engineering, kind of outlined, I guess, in my my memo that's included in the packet here, but we were not able to find any of the original drawings for the plumbing or the rest of that for the building, so that's had to be recreated and along with a new survey done. So we're doing that process, but knowing that we need to prepare the construction drawings, go out for bid, and then do the project. We determined that it wasn't going to be safe to do this in the spring or the winter. We weren't able to do it over the winter, but in the spring or in the summer, just opening up a 10 or 11 foot trench there to put in a new, to connect to the water main, a new main to the building. A 4-inch water line was going to create a hazard for while the golf course is busy in the spring and summer. So we wanted to request to extend the extension through the end of the year. And so I have our engineer, Todd Abrams, here, who can kind of just briefly walk through the layout, and then we can answer any questions. And we appreciate your consideration of our request.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any okay, go ahead. You've got an exhibit, I see.
Hi, my name is Todd Abrams. I work with WT Group. I'm Executive Vice President. I'm kind of acting as a project manager for the project, managing the architects, the MEP engineers, and the civil engineers working on the project. As John mentioned, this is the clubhouse in question. I'm sure almost everybody's probably familiar with the site. You've got the parking lot to the east over here, and you've got your main path entrance, and where the golf carts are parked, that kind of northwest corner of the building. Really, the best location to come in with this water main is in the southwest corner of the building. And as John mentioned, it'll be 12, 15 foot wide trench, very disruptive in this area. And it's one of the main entrances to the building. It's very busy in the spring and the summer, so we feel like it would work best if we opened up in the fall, close it down for a day when it's not as busy.
Any questions?
No. So you intend to begin construction When, September, October?
September, October.
And, okay,
Hope to be in for permit end of this month.
nothing, Neil?
Sue?
No?
Question, is that a whole new water main, or are you extending one that's already there at the same size, or is it you increasing the size?
This is an existing public main to the east here. Let's do it.
So you're starting right there,
Correct.
so
Yeah.
all the way across. Okay, so that's more than a day's worth of work, but that's fine, it's gotta be done,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, need another, motion?
I move we extend the deadline as requested.
Second?
I second.
Roll call?
Okay. Member Wicks,
Aye.
Member Dahlman,
Aye.
Member Cottrell,
Aye.
and Chair Hunter.
Aye.
Motion passes. It's approved.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Now the biggie, discussion of the design for the Green Bay Ridge. We've talked briefly about this before, but it's a great show, so whoever's making the presentation, introduce yourself and we'll get going.
And I can share the drawings to the screen too.
Yeah, that actually would probably be helpful for me. While Mike's getting that up, my name's Dan Shug. I'm the project manager for the Green Bay Road Bridge. Also the Green Bay Road reconstruction that's going on right now. If you remember when Moffett Road was redone, I helped the village do that too. So Jeff and I have been working together for 9 years now. Ken Harenko is our landscape architect. I'm going to start and talk about a little bit of the bridge, some of the alternatives that we have to talk about tonight, and then Ken will finish up with the actual, I'm going to call it the fun stuff, but the roadside exhibit that we need your help on. Very quick history. This bridge project started back in 2019. We have worked with IDOT, the FHWA, SHPO, and I'm forgetting the fourth agency, kind of going around and around on how we were going to rehab this bridge. I know this board reviewed the initial rendering for the bridge last May, I think in 2025. And then construction for the bridge, we are planning to be in 2027. Cross our fingers, the bridge will be closed similar to what's out there today and hopefully open for school in fall of 2027. Assuming the railroad and IDOT all get in line. So why we're here tonight, two things. We've got some aesthetic changes for the bridge that I'm going to speak about, and then Ken is going to speak about the roadside exhibit and the options that we have. You guys know where this one is, right? This is the one, we've got two Green Bay Road bridges over railroads in this town. So we're talking about the southern one down by Bath and Tennis Club Road. And like you said, you've seen this bridge before, but existing conditions. It's got the wood boardwalk. It's got the trusses. Actually, if you want to go to the next slide.
Sure.
Thank you. There we go. Yep, either one of those is fine. We just threw a bunch of pictures in there. The thing I do want to define, we all know what trusses are, we all know what boardwalks are. What I want to talk about is the outriggers. And that's what we're going to call it the upside down L that extends over the pedestrian area. That's what they call an outrigger. It's got a nice little architectural design inside of it. And SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, we call them SHPO, is very much likes that and wants to see that utilized in something. So as far as the bridge aesthetics for the new bridge, if you want to go to the next one.
Seems like scrolling is the only way that's moving the pages. It's
That's
slow.
fine. I kind of have them memorized.
It tends to want to jump extra pages. Did I go too far?
Yep, no, that's perfect. That's perfect. And we can go back and forth if you guys have questions on this. As far as the we have not changed the rendering from what you saw last summer. This is the same rendering. But the initial instructions we received were to copy the Moffett Road Bridge. Do everything the same as what we have on Moffett Road. And so that is what we drew up. However, we've got a couple changes between Moffett Road and Green Bay Road. First of all, there is a higher volume of traffic, and so we need to put in guardrail. Very short sections of guardrail, but if you drive around, you typically will see some guardrail approaching a bridge. That's going to make it very difficult to use that steel railing that's on Moffett Road. There really isn't a good way of connecting a piece of guardrail to the steel railing that's out on Moffett Road. So that's the one troubling part that we have with this design. The second troubling part is that Moffett Road is not over a railroad. Green Bay Road is. The railroad has a requirement that the fence on the bridge be at least 10 feet high, which is very different than what you're seeing on Moffett Road. It is a railroad requirement. It is due to twofold. Number one, safety. They want it a little bit harder to get over the bridge parapet. And second, when the snow plows go by, they want to make sure that no large chunks of snow get launched over a parapet and onto the railroad tracks. So that's why they require that very tall, that height. So what we are proposing for the Green Bay Road Bridge is that bottom left corner is to have a concrete, call it a concrete barrier or a concrete parapet wall on the bottom. We would like to mock that up to the as similar architectural feature as what Moffett Road has. We can get a form liner, they call it a form liner, to make the concrete decorative, to make it appear incredibly similar to the Moffett Road Bridge. And then to stick that fence on the top of it that will satisfy the railroad's requirement. Now, the style of fence is a little bit up to this board, but we would recommend the 10-foot high fence. I will say that I have gotten railroad approval for using a lower fence. It will take quite a bit longer. It takes the railroad a couple times to say yes. They like to say no quite a few times before you get what you're needing. And they were also different situations, much more in central downtown business district areas. Winnetka would be my example right downtown. We don't really have that type of look and feel to this bridge, so I am not confident that I could get the railroad to approve a lower height fence. Again, I will.
Where does the 10 feet come in? Because I'm visualizing that you're saying a 10-foot fence, that's the fence that sits on top of a 2-foot.
Great clarification. That would be 10 feet from the sidewalk.
All right.
So about a 3-foot concrete, give or take, and then maybe 7 or so feet of fence on top of that. Yep. Sorry. Thank you for that clarification. So that's really that's the one thing that we wanted, or really the two things that we wanted to discuss tonight, was making sure we had concrete on the bottom of that fence railing, and then adding the actual fence on top of that to meet railroad requirements.
How much of this bridge actually goes across the tracks that the railroad has control of?
Well, the railroad has jurisdiction under the bridge. Again, the railroads existed before the village did. So the railroad owns the land under the bridge and therefore the sky above it. And I believe their right-of-way is about 60 feet. Furthermore, so I guess we could try just having 60 feet of fence, but the span of the bridge, I want to say, is about 120 foot long, and I'm not sure that we would love the look of a variable height fence just over the tracks.
Would seem to me, though, you could step the fence up and maybe soften it at the ends.
Yeah.
Well, that was gonna be my question. What do the ends look like? Because we've got the middle, but when it gets to the end, is it just a square?
It just stops.
It just, and the fence goes straight up, and does the parapet wall go a little farther? Is the fence inset a little? Like, what happens at the very end?
Do you mind if I go over to the screen and point out?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I know I have a microphone. Oh, yeah, don't change the slide. All right, let me get right here. So on this drawing, the old rendering, we had that steel railing up to the end of the bridge. Mm-hmm. And then after the bridge, we transitioned to this concrete wall, which is what Moffett Road did down here. Mm-hmm. So we would likely need that fence, the 10-foot high fence, all the way to the bridge. And then after the bridge is done, you see, you're still seeing a wall here, but we could start stepping down the fence after the bridge, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And how far after the bridge would that continue, the fence? Even if it was stepped down or not?
I was gonna say, from an engineering perspective, we don't need the fence
Okay,
at all.
okay.
Oh, for the Zoom, for the folks on Zoom. We don't really need the fence at all.
Okay,
So again, from the roadway perspective, that's all aesthetics at that point.
okay.
Where we step it
I'm a little
down and the length that we step it down is completely up to us.
Okay.
For the 60 feet that's required or owned by the railroad.
Yeah, plus or
That's-
minus, don't quote me on that, but it's
Well,
gonna be
whatever
about
it
six.
is, yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, what if the steel fence just came all the way down to the sidewalk? Is that fly? Or is that let the snow go flying onto the tracks?
Yeah, that doesn't become a snow issue, that is more of a crash-worthy issue. So there are two
Okay.
ways, we can't allow a vehicle to go over the bridge, right? So we
Okay.
need to put a crash-worthy barrier on that. The Moffett Road railing is crash-worthy, or at least was when it was put in. I don't think it actually meets standards today, but it was when it was put in. Having a concrete barrier to that 3-ish feet height will be crash-worthy and will not allow a vehicle to go over the bridge, or will help prevent, I gotta use my right terms. Extending the fence all the way down, we would need to make sure that fence is crash-worthy, and this type of fence with the connections that are there would not be crash-worthy. Not to a vehicle, to a pedestrian,
Yeah.
yes, not a vehicle.
I'm having trouble visualizing. The upper right photo, that's a view of the bridge looking south,
Yes, yep,
and it appears to me that the concrete wall extends, on the left side, extends much further than on the right side.
that is correct. If you'll see over here, and it's hard to see out there, but there is a split rail fence. That's quite the drop off on that side of the bridge.
Okay, so it's the issue of the grade.
Yeah, it's the issue of the
Okay,
grade. Now, again, we extended the concrete all the way down because that is what Moffett Road did. But we can stop the concrete after the bridge as well and just go to probably honestly a fence, the same style, but obviously shorter, if we would like to not have the barrier all along. And I would actually tend to agree with that. I think it looks a little bit long, but we were slapping together a rendering and making sure IDOT was half okay with things. So
I think
this
at
is why we're here.
the last meeting, when we saw these diagrams, we had made a suggestion that the concrete wall be shortened, probably at the end, that it didn't extend quite as far as you were showing it. And I'm not quite sure where that is relative to the grade shift.
I can make it a lot shorter. I can make it a lot shorter, believe me.
And then just switch to a metal guardrail.
If that's the direction of the board, absolutely, we can.
Right now, it looks like there's two fences. It looks like we had started off with one fence and decided people were gonna jump over it, and so we put another fence on top of it. And I think it's gonna be a very weird-looking thing. If we don't figure out how to integrate the ends with the middle, without just abruptly stopping one way or the other. And I don't know what that's gonna be. And I got a question. Is this the final shot on this tonight? Because I feel that we.
No,
Shorthanded.
no, it's not.
We can do one more.
Okay.
I was gonna say, can we go to the overhead, Mike? Can you switch to this where it says proposed bridge? It doesn't have a number on it.
Wait a minute, before we,
Right there, go back.
This one?
Perfect, yes.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So I think clarity would be helpful, Dan, if you can show where a 10-foot section would need to be, and then where a barrier needs to be, and then what needs to happen preceding.
I'm gonna show it on, actually, I can show it in either one of these places.
No, go to the overhead, sorry,
Overhead.
yes.
There you go.
So you can see the lines of the right-of-way there where they fall, the big dash lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, anything inside of these lines, this is all railroad. And the 10-foot high fence would need to be basically right away, to be honest.
Okay,
So the entire length of the bridge.
okay.
Now, I'm gonna clarify that the length of the bridge, if you're comparing it to the trusses that are there today, the trusses are not the entire length of the bridge that's there today.
Right.
It's only about half of it. So if you were to look at where the existing trusses are now, they're about from here to here. I just want to yep. The bridge is actually, it's a 3-span bridge, and those trusses are only between the middle span. So the fence would likely have to be the entire length of the bridge, which is basically right where the guardrail starts on both ends. And then we could transition down. We still do need to put in some guardrail in some of these locations.
Where would those be?
The guardrail terminals for safety have to be on all 4 corners of the bridge, just like they are today.
Back a curb or on the back side of the sidewalk?
Yeah, good
So-
clarification, backside of the sidewalk.
So the
today.
image that shows pedestrians,
Back to the rendering.
so this image here of proposed bridge doesn't show that barrier.
No, it does not.
Okay, all right.
And we had not been, part of how IDOT works, you do a lot of environmental documentation, and we get our environmental clearances. And that was where the stage we were at last summer. We had not yet gotten into detailed design. That's the phase that we are just starting today, or a couple weeks ago.
So the pedestrians will be separated from the roadway with a barrier that's identical to the one in the upper left?
No, the guardrail, and you'll see on the new bridge, will be on the back side of the sidewalk. It'll be behind it.
So there will be nothing between the pedestrians and the traffic.
That's correct.
Like it is today at Moffett in the lower right.
Moffett, it is a raised curb height, but that is the standard design for bridges in Illinois, is to have a traveled way, a slightly raised sidewalk, and then the barrier behind it.
Okay, and those barriers will be located where in the plan?
So if I can point on the rendering, the barrier will be located coming off of, I will call it the guardrail, will be coming off of the concrete wall.
What we need to make this
If we
a
could go
little
back to the
clearer.
floor plan, or not floor plan, but
There,
site
okay, I
plan,
got you.
the plan view, excuse me.
I got you.
There we go. Show me where the concrete barrier and will end in the,
Do you want a pointer? I can get a laser pointer.
There you go.
I mean, my pen works if it works for you guys.
it works for me.
If you can reach it.
I don't know, yeah.
And it's not, the pen is in, so we're not gonna write on the screen. So the barrier can technically end anywhere in this white.
But where does it change from the concrete wall to the barrier?
Oh, sorry. But we need to define barrier. We've got a metal guardrail. And we
Okay.
have a concrete wall. Both of them are considered barriers.
Well, why couldn't we just do a concrete wall all the way?
Because at the end of the concrete wall, I'll try it. At the end of a concrete wall, we can't have a vehicle strike the end of a concrete wall.
Got it,
So we
got it.
have to put in a guardrail.
Okay.
That's technically called a traffic terminal end section, but I just call it guardrail because everyone knows what guardrail
Okay.
is.
Does it have to be the metal galvanized guardrail?
It does.
There's a wooden
It has
option,
to
I
be the
thought.
metal galvanized. We can go with a weathered look, but there are only a few of them that are approved by the state. And we do need to make sure these are crash tested. We have very little wiggle room when it comes to safety.
Sure. When you say weathered, would that be like Corten?
Not familiar with that term, but think of
Corten
it like
steel?
rusted steel.
That's what I'm saying, yeah, okay. I think that would be a much better choice than
Yeah.
that.
We can investigate whether IDOT would cover the cost of that. I'm not sure if the weathered look, IDOT will cover aesthetics to a certain point, but once it gets beyond what they believe is their standard, they may say, that's fine, village, but you need to pay for it.
It seems like we need to have a section through this with the elevation of the bridge so we need to see what this thing looks like from beginning to end. And you're gonna have to do that sooner or later anyway. But just a study so we can see what the relationship is to the slope of the land, to where the retaining walls have to happen. Is this gonna be part of a retaining wall? And where the metal part is, and, instead of just abruptly ending, how we can integrate all of that. And then we haven't even talked about the outriggers from the existing bridge, which is a whole
That's
other
Ken,
thing.
you guys don't have to do it
Yeah,
with
I
me after
don't
this.
want to go there yet. But we need more information. I mean, we're all sitting here trying to use our imagination on okay, superimpose something on this perspective photo, which is not really relative right now. So that's what we need to do is do the kind of from the roadway to the other side, because right where the residential starts, there's some tricky sidewalk stuff that was done a few years ago.
Oh, yeah, that was,
Yeah, and so we kind of need to solve all of that, and we have to see the whole picture before we can really get too far into it, but, because right now it sounds like a bunch of walls that look like stone with just a fence on the top. Well,
and I think,
and that's the criteria.
yep, and I agree with you, and IDOT hasn't allowed us to technically start design yet. We've moved ahead a little faster than we should have, just due to the time constraints, so bear with me that we got notice to proceed on this. Well, Jeff and I agreed to move forward just 3 weeks ago or so, so we are at the very front end of.
Have they approved yet?
Road.
Can you start design yet?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. What do you
3
mean?
weeks ago. So we are, but the things, I guess what I would like to get out of tonight is the board okay with using the short concrete wall with a metal fence on top of it extending to that 10-foot height?
Well, it sounds to me like we don't have any choice. So now we have to manipulate the ends as much as we can.
And I will be clear, you have a choice, I'm just not, I'm not optimistic that we can convince the railroad to make a change and still get this
We gotta get the
built
bridge
in
done.
27.
Yeah, I remember when the bridge was a wooden plank, so, really.
I have a question, if you could go back to this picture?
Okay.
Hey, Dan,
I can't see, but yeah.
does the 10-foot, could it all just be metal? Does it have to have the 3-foot concrete?
That one.
Be only crash-worthy. We need something to be crash-worthy from vehicle crash-worthy. So
Let me
yes, it
ask you
could
a
be
question here.
Complete custom design of, to make sure.
They're not examples of just sidewalk to
Whatever
metal.
the Winnetka sample is, I don't know what that is.
The Winnetka sample actually is the bottom left, is concrete on the bottom.
How high do they have to go then?
I think it's technically 2'4".
No, with the metal. You said they got a variance to go lower on the metal. How high did they end up going?
Oh, I gotcha. I think they went down to 42.
Oh.
They were able to go to a 42 inch. And again, it is possible, we have done it, but this is a very different situation. With a much shorter time constraint.
And then the 10-foot high barrier you show there,
Yeah, that example
those
is
are,
actually Waukegan.
I assume that's probably the nicest looking fence of the playbook that IDOT will let us use. Is there other options on that that are also more open or more aesthetic, or is that, I mean, it's not chain link, that's good, but I don't know what other options.
The railroad's gonna say
I don't
chain
know
link.
what other options, what can you
one
get
of
away
those.
with?
I think there are other options, it's a matter of the opening size.
Okay.
This did get permitted through the railroad without any variance proceedings with the railroad. So we know this one, well, a couple of years ago, this went through the railroad without any variances. We are assuming that they will allow this without any variances again. The railroads tend to be a little persnickety when it comes to bridges over them. But
And the end of that just drops off sharp on that example? We can't see the end, I guess.
I think that one does. That one does, yep.
Is that a custom-made railing, or is that a product? I mean, can they taper the ends? Do they have options that we know of for the ends?
I would have to ask Brandon that.
Okay. Because you guys asked if they could step it down. I don't know if they could just taper it down, if that would look better or worse than.
Well, if you take a look at the Moffett Road Bridge that you've shown in the picture, there are a couple of things that were really critical when that bridge was designed. One, that I don't think you can get around, because what you're talking about is that the part of the fence that's open, the purpose of leaving it open was so that you could see down, as you're driving by, you could see down into the ravine.
Beautiful in the ravine.
My understanding is that you can't do that.
Again, it has to be crash worthy.
Well, you could also shove snow through there.
There is
Yeah,
no
that's right.
railroad under here.
Yeah.
That's
No, I'm
Right.
talking about that, I recognize that, I'm saying that was one of the rationales for designing that bridge, and I'm saying I understand that you can't copy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep, got
The
it.
other thing is, the ends, that I think we're all concerned about how this thing ends, and if you take a look at the Moffett Road Bridge on the left side,
But, you know, Neil, those things were like little observation hooks at the end of the,
yeah,
and there's,
there's some design talent to it,
yeah,
is
but
what I'm
this,
getting at.
this land just does this. And so there's no room to do it unless you build a wall that's about 15 feet.
No, I don't mean to copy those.
No.
What I do mean is, I think that the ends deserve something more than just tapering down.
That's what I'm saying, if how we end the metal fence on top and how we end the stuff itself, that's why I'm suggesting that we have a section with an elevation of the bridge that we can kind of sketch over, if you want to call it
I
that.
think we can bring that back for June.
Yeah, that would be the place to start, because then we can all see it, instead of trying to imagine what it is.
I think that sounds great. May I ask the board can we move forward coordinating with the railroad, though, with a 10-foot high fence within the limits of the bridge itself? We can talk about how we taper down and where it tapers down.
From what you're describing is anything other than that is gonna cause a delay, potentially. And I
Yes.
don't think anybody here wants to have a delay. This whole thing is gonna be a bad enough delay to begin with. Yeah.
I'm 7 years in, guys.
Yeah.
I completely understand. COVID came and went, and this bridge was still here.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know, do we have any,
I had a question. Is the wall, are there variations that could happen with the wall? For instance, like if there wanted to be some sort of little pillars or something to refer to the fence post to try to integrate it more? Or is that wall kind of a standard thing? Do you know what I
that's
mean?
what I'm talking about, though. We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't want to do this in pieces.
Right.
We gotta do the whole thing. But the question right now is, are we okay with 10 feet? That's the big thing.
I think that is the big thing, and if there's variations, like I think you're talking about where.
And the 10 feet
Yeah,
is
like
for
could maybe
this.
there be like I don't know, I just was wondering, not to, because it's not my job to design it, but like, is that wall there, just as a question, is that set, is that like a thing that is done that needs to be done for IDOT or whatever, this sort of straight continuous wall? Or can there be some sort of variation in that or design element to it? Okay,
There can be variation, to an extent. You
Yeah,
can't go down
you can't go
you can't go down
crazy.
to the floor,
right, yeah,
But there can be variation. I will answer, really, it's a matter of cost.
okay.
But the question, the first question is, are we okay with 10 feet, at least in the 60-foot right of way?
Yeah, within the limits of the bridge.
And we can do whatever we want to after the, right, more or less.
I was gonna say, not whatever we want to, but we have a lot more flexibility outside. of the bridge.
Okay. That's whatever we want to.
I'm an engineer, I have to be very careful.
Yeah, I'm an architect, you're doing.
Well, that's part of the concern I have on the finish. My son is a structural engineer. I would not have him designing anything that I want to look nice. It'll stand up,
Well,
but he's not a designer. And I get the feeling this is being designed by engineers.
well, if you remember the Moffett Bridge, the first thing that came in was Jersey barriers. And George Russell said the ABR is not gonna like that.
He was right.
And we went through a couple of different designers until one of the fellows came in, was that you? No. And I want to say he was a young Frenchman. And he came in and he had a roll of yellow trace, and we worked out that bridge collectively. We having all the rules in place, and like Neil said, that we set the parameters of, you want to see you should be looking ahead, but you want to be able to see the ravine as you're going across it, because one of the spectacular things about Lake Bluff. And then the little ends on the corners were a way to kind of stand there. Stuff happens in the ravine, and you could stand there and look down. I've never seen anybody do it, but they're there if they want to.
I've done it.
I've done it.
Okay, good. So anyway, that's kind of the evolution of the Martha
Actually, I've
Bridge.
done it too.
Yeah,
Watch the salmon down there going upstream.
So going back to 10 feet in the 60-foot range,
I think,
we don't seem to have a great deal of choice.
right, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the 10 feet. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
prefer
trying to-
it, but I think we gotta live with it.
Yeah, there's a bridge in Waukegan, and it's might be on Grand.
Mathon?
Is,
Grand turns into Mathon.
yeah, okay. And it's a wall, and it's got one of these all the way across it. Yeah,
I think that's actually this bridge. We built
okay,
that.
Really?
all right.
We designed that. That's
Okay.
that is my structural engineer's work.
Okay, well, it's okay.
Just to let you know,
But it's
Depending
okay
on
because
the-
it's all by itself. It's not really in nature, I mean, I've gone down to that bridge many times, and I thought, this is not bad. So anybody wants to go look at it, you'll see what that part of it looks like.
and I'm almost certain it is this bridge. One of the prettiest bridges over a railroad that I've been on. Over a railroad.
The only thing I would just point out, and I'm just throwing that out, and doesn't have to require any discussion tonight, is the bridge and the railroad right-of-way are at an angle. They're not perpendicular to one another. And so as a consequence, the fence could be staggered on both the east and west side.
Might lead to something interesting or
Okay,
not.
That's all I threw out.
And that's another part that we are working with the railroad on. We are actually not, we are only replacing the superstructure of the bridge, only the top part that you see.
The deck is staying or going away?
The deck goes, the beams go, but the piers are staying. They're in good shape.
But what I'm getting at is, I'm just talking about the fence. In other words, my understanding is the fence,
We can
the
work
fence
with the
only
railroad.
has to extend over the right-of-way.
Well, we can work with
Which
the
is
railroad
different
and
on
see
each side of the
where
bridge.
where they need it.
Right, okay.
Is this survey information that you have correct, or is this,
Say that again.
the grades and, well, you don't have the grades, but the right-of-ways, like who has what, the street right-of-way and the railroad right-of-way?
The lines that you see, those are accurate.
They're right on, okay.
We've surveyed the whole job. We know exactly where the right.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So are we okay with the 10-foot? Let's get that one off the table here.
I think we have no choice.
Okay. Do we need to?
Why fight City Hall?
Yeah, we don't need to vote on that. We're just, we're okay with that.
God, there's the railroad, and there's everybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to talk about right now that we can do without having more information to see.
That is perfectly fine. That will allow us to start moving forward with the critical path item being the railroad. And we can come back and talk about how we transition and what color the fence is. That's,
Were you
That-
going to do any topography surveys? Because both corners of that.
They've done it, it just doesn't show up here, but they have topography.
Okay, because
Yep.
those
Survey
have a
of the
big
whole
impact on the end of this
road,
bridge.
yep.
But it sounds like also your direction is to minimize the concrete wall and make it more open on the ends. Is that also what you're looking for?
I don't know.
Well, again, the concrete wall has to appear where the grade the grade beyond the wall is steep. That's why there's a crash barrier. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Concrete wall or guardrail, right? Where it's
Or
steep.
Right, or guardrail, but.
Or
the-
guardrail.
but-
Some
yeah.
sort of barrier to prevent a vehicle from overturning.
Right,
off.
so again, if the grading, my recollection of how the grades work there, that wall could also be staggered east to west in terms of the
Yes.
slant of,
And that's how it is laid out now, is we made it as short as we could. We actually might be able to shorten it up a little bit more when we add the guardrail.
okay, I guess it's not clear on the drawing.
Dan, are you also saying that if you made the wall go all the way, you would need no guardrail? If you went to the
No, we still
extreme?
need guardrail because we can't allow a vehicle to hit the wall head on.
Okay, you just need an end section of
Yeah,
guardrail.
we need an, yeah.
You can't allow it to hit it head on, but if it curved away,
So I can't allow a vehicle to drive it, if this is the barrier, I can't allow a vehicle to hit it like this.
What if it,
Glancing off is fine, but not,
But could you curl the end is
no,
what he's
if you
asking.
curled it away, and I don't know whether the landscape is
that
much.
standard is no longer allowed in Illinois.
Really?
Yep.
So the yellow barrels are fine? Yeah, the crash barrels.
The crash barrels are fine, yes. It's all about dissipating energy, and that curved barrier, the
Yeah.
curved guardrail does not dissipate the energy. We can use it in certain situations where we are not, where we don't have enough room to put in the guardrail, say a private driveway or whatnot, then we can curl it around. But there has to be another reason to use it.
Yeah, okay.
Not, that isn't this fence.
And that end section can be as little as 20 feet? I forget what the,
Oh, you're
I-
making me quote.
I think there's one on the underpass here.
Like
when
the underpass,
they
it's a
put it
type,
in.
I can tell you it's a type 6, and when we talk to Ken, I can look that up and get
But
back.
we can take more concrete wall, less guardrail, or whatever
Well.
way you want to push that
You know,
lever.
we just have to have the parameters.
We'll get you that. We'll get you a drawing that looks like that top one that shows the limits of where what the minimum standards
Yeah,
are.
right.
That's,
Well, I
and
think we
along,
can-
over a topo,
Yeah.
right, to understand that.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I will bring something back that says, here's my line in the sand, it shall be here.
Yeah, that's what we
Beyond
need.
this, let's talk about what you
Because
want.
I
And
don't
if
want to
there-
talk about just this end and this end and this end, and we need to talk about the whole piece.
Yep.
And so that's consistency of what we're doing, of the whole
No,
thing.
that is perfect.
Is the limits for that work, is that okay? Is that long enough north to south between the
You
private
know,
drive?
It goes to the street, that's fine, because you can't go that far, and there's a
It's a private drive.
on the other side, and I think some of this gets pretty doggone close to that.
This drive.
So you want it a little further north? Would you like it a little further north then?
Well, that shows the driveway, so we're not.
Well, there's, that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think that
All right.
distance is fine. I can't imagine that we'd want to go any farther than that.
And the design principles, thou shalt have X, thou shalt have Y, have that, and that should give you enough direction to noodle this.
I think so.
Okay. Everybody concurs?
And if you could input the grade right where this thing is, right on the edge.
Yeah.
If you survey.
Over on a topo, right?
There's just a section right where it is.
Yep.
When do we get back at this?
Well, can we talk about the other pieces to this
Oh, yeah,
too?
there's the other
I was gonna
Ne-
say, I'm
next
only
meeting,
part
Bob.
one.
I know.
Bob, they're coming
We got
back
a
in
grand
June.
finale.
Because when I'm thinking, I don't know how long it's gonna
They're
take to
coming
get
back in
this.
June.
But if you
So
can have
next
this
meeting
by
we'll be
the
back.
end of the week, what we talked about, we can ship those out to them electronically or paper versions. You probably want paper.
Yeah.
And you can start thumbing through them.
My guess would be the end of next week, and it might be a couple more days beyond that, but I think within the next 2 weeks. That
We
would-
can help you expedite this thing,
Yep, no, that'd be fantastic.
I think. I'd like it next time if we have a full boat.
Yeah.
All right. That's gonna talk about the next part.
So you got what you need for now?
Correct, yes, 10 foot high, we will start coordinating with the railroad.
So I want to ask you, is the bridge in Waukegan 10 foot?
Might be plus or minus a couple inches, but yes.
Okay. All right, so,
Do you want to go over the memo?
Oh, yeah, I'll go over I'll give you a quick intro on the memo. Can you go back one?
Sure.
Because we have had a little bit more time to,
Where, it's the scrolling thing. I can't hit an arrow and just go one page. I have to hit this thing and it just jumps. Where do you want me to go?
maybe it's not in there.
Go
The other direction?
the other direction.
Whoops.
Two more. There you go.
There you
Oh,
go.
You almost had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys have the text version, right?
Yeah, we do. I can't believe the arrows don't work tonight. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah.
All right, I think Bob, you're gonna like this, I'm gonna give you the constraints right away. Like I said, this was a very long process to go through with IDOT, SHPO, and the FHWA. In fact, when I asked IDOT for an example of what we needed to do, they gave me an example from Missouri DOT, and I'm not making that up. IDOT did not have an example for what we're doing either. So that was part of the process going through. But because this bridge was eligible for the National Historic Register, I messed that up. Taking it down is considered an adverse effect. If you guys are familiar with adverse effect. Adverse effect needs to be mitigated. So we worked with FHWA, SHPO, and IDOT for a memorandum of agreement on what that mitigation would look like. And the requirement of that mitigation is an architectural, a roadside exhibit that incorporates members of the truss and/or outriggers, and has some sort of plaque that speaks to the bridge and the historic and transportation history in Lake Bluff. So those are our constraints. We need a roadside exhibit, and it needs to in some way incorporate the members of that existing bridge. Further, the rest of the members of the bridge that are not used in that roadside exhibit need to be stored at Public Works for a minimum of 10 years to see if anyone wants them.
So when you say the rest of the members, I mean, the thing that's
The
about
steel.
the bridge is just the outriggers.
Yep, the outriggers and the steel truss as well.
The truss is just a truss.
You
matter.
can speak with Shippo about that.
If I'm not mistaken, those things are no longer structural, right?
Correct. They are,
They were just-
they are
they were
completely
just-
aesthetics.
They were
and
just glued back on when the bridge was reconstructed.
Pretty much. Yep, layman's terms, absolutely. They were just kind of tacked on when it was done. And how they were tacked on is actually a part of why the bridge is starting to fail today. It should have lasted longer, but that was actually that's how they mitigated the adverse effect in the 80s. So we're out to redo it. We don't want to make the same mistake again. I would really like this bridge to last more than 40 some years. That's ridiculous. So that's those are the constraints that we are under. This board, we're here tonight to talk about what this board would like to recommend, and I do say recommend. Part of that memorandum of agreement is that SHPO, IDOT, and the FHWA also have a say in what this looks like.
So the State of Illinois Historic Group doesn't have anything to say about it?
They do.
Oh, they do, okay.
They absolutely do. But what we're going to do is take this board's recommendation and provide it to SHPO and say, this is what the village would like. Rather than us giving them alternatives and bringing it back to you, we want you to have the alternatives first. And I believe that will carry a significant weight with SHPO to say, the Architectural Board of Review has looked at the alternatives and would like this, whatever this happens to be. So that's what we're here tonight to talk about, what exhibit this board would like to see, and then we can take that to SHPO and IDOT and FHWA.
Okay.
All right? Now I'm gonna try to stop talking.
Okay, my name is Ken Horinko, Horinko is the spelling. I'm a landscape architect with Baxter and Woodman, as Dan mentioned. So I'm going to go over the 5 alternatives that we put together. Within each of those alternatives, there are some options, I guess, that are open for discussion, but we wanted to throw in some things that are some variations on things, and then hopefully at the end of this, we come to a consensus of the look and feel of the possible roadside exhibit, the location, some high-level talk or discussions about materials, color, that sort of thing. With the goal being, when we come back at the next meeting, have hopefully more of a final direction, final kind of look and feel of things, and we can move forward with the whole process with IDOT and SHPO and everything. As we're going through these alternatives, just some things to keep in mind is that everything that we're showing is within the existing right-of-way. There's some variation in the possible locations for things, but we found that there's preference, I guess, for the southwest and northwest sides of the bridge, just given the topography, existing topography that's there, utilities, drainage, and things like that are present. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but just a consideration that there's kind of more favorable locations for a possible exhibit. Right now, the preliminary costs range between $31,000 and $94,000 based on the range of potential materials, the complexity level involved in the various aspects of constructing these as well. So if we go back a few, this is.
Yeah, I feel like they're not showing up in order here somehow.
You're just having a hard night.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Okay, so this is what we're calling alternative 1A. Basically, it would involve taking those historic outriggers, 6 of them, and arranging them on the southwest side of the bridge, and arranging them in such a way that it becomes kind of like a destination, a stopping off point for people, really kind of speaking more about the history of the bridge while being somewhat interactive. That location, there's a slight drop off from the sidewalk, about 2 feet from the sidewalk level. To the west, it drops off 2 feet. Right now, it's primarily just open turf grass area, but we could kind of play with that topography in this design where the level of the paved area is at the same level as the sidewalk, and then the outrigger portion is like the rear side, there's 12 feet from the bottom of the base of the outrigger to the top of the outrigger, and then on the front side, it's 10 feet. We're thinking about incorporating a seat wall and incorporating within that seat wall what we're calling the relic features of the historic bridge. So there's plaque element and the Phoenix Steel and Bridge Company embossed on some of the members of the trusses, and then there's the number 308 sign, and kind of integrating those into the seat wall portion, and then potentially adding in I guess a modern historic plaque, like talking about the bridge and the transportation history for Lake Bluff. And we're showing this in a blue color, like the idea being that the outriggers could be sandblasted and repainted in the Lake Bluff blue. Again, this is just an option we're showing for this alternative. We can discuss more about possible other colors for things. And then also thinking about lighting as well. How could something like this be lit? The outriggers could potentially be uplit, or there could be lighting that is integrated into the seat wall, under the cap type of lighting, or don't light it at all. Don't really draw attention to it at night if you don't want people potentially using this space at night. If you go to the next one.
You want to get comments on that one first before we proceed, or?
Why don't we go through them first? and
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go through them all. and
Keep
we'll-
track
we
of
can
your
talk at the end.
comments, because they're,
All right.
yeah.
This one is we're calling alternative 1B, a similar type of scenario where we're using 6 outriggers in a circular type of fashion. This is on the northwest side of the bridge. There is that private drive there, and the end of the new bridge that coincides with that. So it's a little bit of a tighter area, but the grade is a little bit more favorable in that location. There is an existing tree, mature tree, that may or may not have to be removed as part of the bridge work to begin with, but if we were going to use this location for the roadside exhibit, it would likely need to be removed as part of that, just another consideration. Again, looking at color, material, in this instance, we're showing the outriggers as a black, being repainted in black. Another consideration too, we're showing the seat wall and materials more kind of a natural stone, that type of thing, but is it something where it matches the material of the bridge more with the concrete with the stone form liner on it, so it becomes more, everything kind of becomes a little bit more harmonious in the design of the bridge and the roadside exhibit? Or do we kind of go higher end materials with the roadside exhibit, just since it's more of kind of a pedestrian type of
Can I, let me
experience?
interrupt you just for a minute, because I thought earlier on, you said that you had to use all the elements. And here you're just using the outriggers, so that's okay.
Not all of the elements, some of the elements.
So,
But all the ones that we don't use here do need to get stored at Public Works.
okay, so this is just okay just to use the outriggers? Okay,
That,
all right,
again, that is a board decision.
yeah,
That
okay,
we could go to SHPO with the outriggers, like you said, truss is just a truss. We could tell that to SHPO.
okay, go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I think the outriggers are obviously more of have the significant
important, right.
aesthetic feature, and that's why we're kind of focusing on those for these examples. Okay, you can go to the next
Yeah.
example. So this is alternative 2A. Again, we're on the southwest side of the bridge. The idea for this is that it's really more of like a sculptural element that exists in the landscape. If you go to the next slide. So we would be using one of the outriggers and then the triangular truss piece, and really just having it, as I said, just kind of be a sculptural element within the landscape where it's less of an interactive piece and just something that is it's more for viewing and has a less interactivity, I guess, with it. Integrate or include the historic plaque with it. We're showing kind of more of like a monument type of piece, but it could be more of just a sign on a post, similar to what we were talking about earlier at the meeting. In this example, what if we just left the kind of patina as it is on the bridge instead of trying to sandblast it and repaint it and do that? And over time, maybe that becomes a maintenance issue, but what if we just left it as it is, where it's, I'm calling it patina for lack of a better word, or other word being rust as it is now. But what if we just left it like that, and it's set off far enough away where it's not really a hazard for anybody, and it's kind of sealed in place where it is condition-wise now. And then the next example is a similar type of scenario with the outrigger and the truss, but it's on the northwest side of the bridge. Again, some issues with the proximity of the driveway and the end of the bridge, that sort of thing. Also grade-wise, just there's a difference with the height of the outrigger and the height of the truss. So the truss element would probably need to be elevated. So we're showing kind of some stone plinth or columns to elevate that front portion so it's all on one level, but that could be an interesting design element incorporated in that as well. And these examples are showing some planting around it that kind of softens the edge and just lets that whole area just kind of be within its own type of setting within the landscape. Again, thinking about lighting for something like this could be uplit and just kind of let it be integrated into the landscape. And the last example, this is where we would take each of the 12 outriggers and place them on each end of the bridge. This is assuming that we would be able to use all of the outriggers. They would all be in condition, fine enough condition that they could be reused and be set like this. So there's a little bit of kind of assumption with this, but if we had to use 8 instead of 12, like maybe there's a way that we could do that as well. But this is pie in the sky type of thinking for right now. But this would be utilizing the outriggers in more of a similar function to how they are now, where they're set on the ends of the bridge, and the sidewalk or path goes underneath the ends of them. So it's kind of speaks a little bit more to the function that the outriggers serve now or did serve when they were more of a structural element. Again, thinking about lighting, could these be uplit? Is there an opportunity to actually have down lighting on these so that they're lighting the path? But really trying to create a sense of like a gateway, I guess, for going either direction on the bridge. And then this example, we're showing them in green to match the Moffett Road Bridge elements that are in green. Again, the location C and D that we're showing could be somewhat of a challenge just based on the grades that are there. But we don't want to hold anything back at this point. There's grade challenges and also drainage and utilities, that sort of thing. With any of these locations, things are apt to change, but just kind of wanted to show all the possibilities at this point. And then finally, if you go to the last slide. So really just to recap, the alternatives 1A and 1B really kind of speak more to the history of the bridge and while offering a level of interactivity with these roadside exhibits. And then the alternative 2A and 2B act more as a sculptural element that exists within the landscape. And then alternative 3 is more akin to the original design intent for the outriggers and the layout of the bridge, while potentially offering some functionality and some interactivity with the design. So with that, we can open it up to questions, thoughts.
Art, what do you think?
Well, looking at all of these, I think alternative 3 is head and shoulders above the others because, as you say, relates to the original design purpose of them. The other thing, the whole question we had earlier, what would be at the ends of the bridge, begin to be addressed in that. Second choice, I guess, would be 1B, but far, in my view, it doesn't, it's not close. And then the other thing I would say is, I would just leave them rusty, because that's what they are now, and
They're historic that way.
that's historic rust.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Chairman Hunter. And that's all I really had to say.
I would also agree to leave them rusty, rather than sandblast and paint them. I think my preference is to consider one that's actually usable as versus just decoration. And that would be 1A. And some of the suggestions I'd have on that is instead of a cut stone seat wall, maybe the wall could be the same type of concrete that's being used for the bridge itself.
Sure.
That would tie it in. You talked about uplighting, but that's kind of the reverse of dark sky. So I think that lighting along the bottom of the seat wall is fine. Uplighting into the pieces, may not be necessary. And I wonder on your variation A, if there are other parts of the existing bridge that could be used to somehow span over the top of this and create a roof on it. I often go out walking or jogging, and I've been caught out in the rain numerous times, and it'd be sure nice to have a place to go
They're pretty high up there.
where I can get out of the rain. But anyway, that's my thought, that's my preference.
Sue?
Well, I wanted to say, when I opened up the packet and I got to this part, I was so excited. And I think it's awesome that you did so many options and them being all very creative. And it's really fun to even think about them. I did go over there and walk around, and I felt like, honestly, I could make a case for all of them, honestly. The northwest corner to me is, if you're gonna sit somewhere, I felt like it was less desirable than the southwest corner, kind of because the bridge kind of slopes over, and when you're at the northwest corner, you're almost like a little surprised by the cars coming over, because you can't really see them coming. So it doesn't feel like, I was trying to imagine sitting there, and it doesn't feel as sort of peaceful and even as pretty as the southwest corner. Now, I know you would be doing some landscaping, and there's some janky, like, chain link fence and all this stuff going on over there, and I don't know if that's staying or going, but if it's staying, it's not very pretty. I don't know if that has to stay or not.
The chain link fence is staying. That is for the gas main that's suspended over the railroad.
Yeah, and there's just a bunch of like gunk going on over there with that, and I just felt like if I was gonna be sitting on either corner or either place, I would rather sit on the southwest myself, because you can see the cars coming, you're not kind of like, here comes another, and they're kind of loud.
Yeah.
It's prettier there. But then when you mentioned taking down that big, beautiful tree, I don't know about that. I don't know if there'd be a way to not take that down, because that is kind of part of the thing that makes it sort of like you want to sit there, so that would be another thing. I do kind of like, to your point, having a place to sit. I think that's nice. It's like a functional thing. And if they do ever develop that area over there where you have that, there'll be a lot more maybe foot traffic going on and people, if that spot ever gets developed. So I do really like that. I also like the rusty idea, although I don't know if sitting by the rustiness is safe, or I'm not sure about that, or if there's some way to coat it, leave the rust, but coat it somehow to be safer. I don't know about that, but I do agree with the rusty idea, because I think that makes it seem historical and not kind of, so anyway, that's just my thought there. I think they're both lovely. I actually really like the sculptures too. I think they're cool looking and kind of seem like art in a way, and again, I kind of think the southwest corner is nicer backdrop, but if it's not something you're sitting at, I think it could also go on the other side. So that one I think could go on either end, and I like the plinth idea. It makes it seem more sculptural and intentional, so I think that's also really nice. The one that you drive under and kind of that way, I think that's interesting as well. I like the way you can see it from both sides coming and going. I'm not sure if people would understand it. I don't know if there would be a way to make it, maybe put it on plinths or something to make it seem intentional, because I feel like there might be a chance that people, especially if they're rusty, are like, well, they forgot to take those down, or what are those doing there? Like, I'm not sure that there would be as much of an understanding of what it's doing, even though I also agree that it is kind of more in keeping with what it's supposed to be doing. So I don't know about that. But then of all of them, I think it would be important, as Bob said, to see what's happening with the bridge and how it's ending and all that, because these are all going to be placed at the ends. And I think it might make a difference now that we're going to have this 10-foot situation, how that would interact with any of these. So I think, I don't know if that's enough direction or if that's useful, but that's kind of, I would like to see when you come back with the elevations, and maybe it takes us understanding which one we'd land on, but then to see which them kind of in relation to that is kind of what I'm thinking. But I do think taking down that big tree would be, I think it would be a hard sell for some people around town. I know there's always been issues with that, It's a beautiful big tree.
It looks.
No, it's pretty. And it's really kind of lovely, so I think if you could figure out a way to work around having to do that. I know you said it might have to come down for the bridge itself, and that, I guess, would be a different story. So that's my input. But I think you did just a lovely job of coming up with some really creative and nice solutions for that.
So, okay, so These are my first impressions when I opened it, and they're probably not fair. But I guess it's alternative 1A. And again, this is not fair. Last year, a couple of years ago, we looked at a project for the church down the street, down on Prospect, and it was very similar to this in terms of a worship place outside. And that's what's hit my head. This looks like a ceremonial place rather than something historical, but that's from my perspective. Yeah, but the other thing, it doesn't really relate to what it was. They're pretty cool. I had an idea, Bruce and I talked about this some years ago. So we could take these things and put them in around town and make shelters out of them. You know, almost like a bike shelter, put bike racks under them or something. Maybe that's better than having them stored where there's no room out at public safety. Anyway, so that was the first one. The second one, which I guess is location B, well, wherever it's located, my first thought there was that's a gathering place. Whether it's for little meetings, whether it's a coven of witches, whatever it might be. And again, it's very cool, standing by itself. But again, the relationship to the bridge. And maybe the relationship to the bridge is just what you say about it. And somewhere there's a diagram, a plaque that shows the bridge.
Yeah.
I don't know, I question, when they take that thing apart, can they take the walkway off so you can actually see the structure? Because half of it's, covered up with wood and junk.
Well, the boardwalk,
Yeah,
on the original bridge, you would be able to see a lot of the structure. When they redid it, they took a lot of the steel off, and the rest of the truss actually got buried in concrete in the
Okay.
bridge deck. So under the wood, there
there's nothing.
isn't much.
All right, well, can we keep going on then? Each one of these has got its own merits. But when push comes to shove, the one I think is probably an incorporation of a lot of things that we don't know yet. I like the idea of being able to walk under it, because you've always been able to walk under it. I don't know what the arm length is, once it goes.
They're about 3.5 to 4 feet long, so.
Great.
So they would be able to overhang the sidewalk portion.
If you actually
substantially.
integrated it in with the sidewalk, and you actually walked under it, kind of what you were doing, only even closer, so that it really was part of the sidewalk. And maybe even do some of the sculpture things, just to kind of connect everything together, and somehow integrate this into the steel wall, or the steel bridge, the steel fence.
All that, yeah.
And the stone wall, and all this stuff has to go together as a piece instead of independent things.
That's what I agree.
And that's gonna take a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
again, it's easy for me to sit here and talk about it.
yeah. Is it crazy, and now that we have to do the 10-foot, is it crazy to try to not glue them in, but integrate these things into the actual bridge? So like you had them like you do, and then in between them you had the wall and the fence, and then, do you know what I mean? Like, is there a way to,
I would,
no, I just mean like, is there a way to integrate these pieces sculpturally going actually into the bridge? Not structurally,
Right.
but now that we have to have the 10-foot wall there, could you do something that had it where they marched down the bridge, and then in between those spans, you had the 10-foot wall? Do you know what I mean? Or some way, I mean, I don't know.
I just kept going at that height along that.
Well, yeah, so that they weren't like, so that they were actually part of the bridge, like.
It's a little bit like the last,
Kind
the
of that,
last one, but,
Yeah.
again, if you integrate all this stuff, and it's not so far off the sidewalk,
exactly.
and it becomes a part
Part
of
of
the
it,
sidewalk
yeah.
more or less, and maybe some of this steel, and maybe it sits on more of the concrete wall.
Right, like it's like-
Rustication.
I'm
And
afraid,
you
yeah.
could even maybe bring the steel fence right up to it.
Yeah, like, so it's
And then
like, oh, I don't know, it's like a
I don't know
thought.
how this thing is attached. I mean, I looked at it couple of years ago, and it looked to me like you'd have to laser cut them off or something. I don't think that.
Yeah, there'd be some,
I was gonna say, the outriggers today are bolted to the outside of the bridge. And when they come off, they will unbolt them.
They'll come with it.
In theory, they should be able to literally take them off of the side of the bridge.
Oh.
And we do actually, you'd have to scroll back through a couple of the existing pictures, but we have a picture of that from the railroad, and you can see it. We can look at attaching them to the outside of the bridge the way they are today, if that's an option.
I wasn't really
But
thinking
the
like,
wall would be between,
You could do that?
they would be on the far side of the wall, right, from the pedestrian.
They would be on the back side of the wall, and I think they would have to be on the back side of the wall, because these are very wide at the base. And then what you're talking about is having the fence, still having the fence, but have the fence go in between
right.
the outriggers.
Or like somehow incorporate them so they looked intentional, but not fakely holding up the bridge. Like not like a fake bridge, but like you incorporated them somehow into the bridge, but as a element of design type thing, but not like we're fooling people into thinking these things are still holding up the bridge. Do you know what I mean? But that's just, I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just saying, is that a crazy idea?
But you're saying that you could bolt these things to the back, I mean, let's say the back side of this rusticated wall is smooth. Or at least smooth where you're gonna. Or put a,
If you don't mind.
so that, okay, so that's concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was looking at this thing down here, this is a couple of years ago.
There you go. Yep. Cool. Point. Yeah, so this is the outrigger, and when you walk across the bridge, I gotta stop moving, your feet are at this height up here.
Oh, they're that tall?
That outriggers is another 2 or 3 feet down from your feet.
From the sidewalk, how tall is it to the top of the outrigger?
I'd have to look at the existing plans.
it's probably 8 or 9 feet. The total height of the outrigger is about 12 feet from like the bottom, there to the top is about 12 feet. So if we're talking 8 or 9 feet
But
that's
is there enough
exposed.
to mount them so that the top would be 10 feet high, so you could put fence in between?
It would be over 10 feet.
Yeah, is there some way to,
Well over 10 feet, if they were mounted to the top. I don't, again, the width of the outrigger, it's actually a substantial width at the base. So trying to take that base and set it on top of concrete, that concrete would have to be exceptionally wide as well.
could you
Well, but it
mount
could be
them?
Well,
bolted in
the
the side,
concrete
but
could be-
higher than it is.
You know, it could be formed,
We could, yeah, I mean, we could do.
form
some-
it to take it.
I call them jut outs, I think there's a technical term, I'm not a structural engineer. But that could be looked at, that's one option. It's-
Yeah, one
it's a
option
matter
to
of
see if
cost.
you could integrate it somehow in a
So
beautiful way.
those outriggers right currently are what, probably 10, 11 foot tall?
They're about 12 feet tall.
12 feet tall, okay. So sitting on top of the wall, they would be up there.
Well, top of the wall would be too
They
tall.
would most definitely be up there. We would have to
Yeah, that'd be
look
too.
at some interesting connections for them, because there currently is not a plate to mount it
They're
to.
bolted to the concrete, but could they be bolted to the concrete, just lift it up a couple of feet? To get
I'll have to
that 10
speak with
feet?
my structural engineer about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or could they be bolted to the ground and have the concrete come right up to it? You know what I mean? The wall like come, like if here's the outrigger, could the concrete come right up to it and then skip it and then come carry on? And then, you know what I'm talking about? So there wouldn't be a
Really
lot.
hard time, and I'm
Like,
usually
so
good
the
at-
outrigger's kind of inset into the,
Yeah, so like, so that the wall isn't continuous, it just, there's an outrigger and then,
Into an opening. or-
yeah,
Oh.
and then there's, you know, but
No,
there's
the
like a
wall will
little
need to be-
space.
The wall will need to be continuous.
Okay, we can't have like 2 inches or an inch, and then, okay, just checking.
Now I know where you're going.
Now you know where I am.
Sorry.
But the fence could do that.
The
The-
fence could do that, correct, because the the concrete is that vehicle crash barrier.
Okay, we don't want them
fence
crashing
is-
into the outrigger. All right,
We don't
so,
want them, we can't have it crashing
no,
into the
nobody's
outrigger.
crashing into the outrigger.
We
All
cannot
right,
have them crashing into the outrigger.
all right, but the fence could stop and go with these things coming if we wanted.
We would have to work with the railroad, but I think that's something they might entertain.
Okay. Well, I think it may be one option where you look at integrating them somehow into the actual bridge. Unless it's crazy and it's gonna cost $1,000 jillion, then it's okay.
I will say, anytime you start changing the form of the parapet wall, costs go up substantially. It is much, the labor involved, it's not just the extra concrete,
Yeah,
but the labor involved in
doing that.
doing that, especially if it's 12 times.
They might be like, heck, no.
So possibly a way to do something similar to what you're talking about is cut the bottom of it, so part of it mounts on top of the parapet wall, and there's a tail that comes over the back of the
I like
wall
that.
and down the back.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a
And then
great
it's
idea.
too complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Right,
And that integrates it more.
right.
That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
right.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, except the flange is what we need to actually mount it, so as soon as you cut that front notch off, and again, I'm not a structural, when you cut that front flange off, you lose the ability to mount it to anything.
Well,
Well,
maybe
you could mount the front flange to the top of the parapet wall, and the tail coming down the back is less
Which of those
structural.
flanges is
No,
plumb?
so I guess, yeah, you have I think there is a better
The
picture.
inside flange is a big flange
Yeah,
toward
the
the inside
inside
of the road.
flange right now is what is being used to mount it to the outside. So if you push that in, you're gonna cut out the inside flange, and we won't have anything structural.
It's the
to mount
stiffening
it to.
part, yeah.
Well, you can always just quick bolt the flange to the backside of the parapet wall and have it extend up.
Yes, and how it is today, but we wouldn't be able to notch it over the parapet.
Right, but you wouldn't have to.
That's okay.
This is an engineering thing that we can't answer right
Yeah.
now, but there's probably 8 ways to do it, and it's
I
gonna,
was gonna say, there are
which
a
is the
number of
most
different ways.
cost-effective to do it.
Correct.
Yeah.
It does get to a matter of cost.
Yeah.
I won't lie,
Sure.
we don't have unlimited federal funding for the project, we just don't. And we've already gotten up to just about the limit that the feds are going to supply the village with. So,
Dan, do we know if there's any kind of restrictions with having that overhang in terms of like in proximity to the roadway?
No, I think I would have to talk with our structural engineer about that. Overhanging it.
It's not overhanging the road.
Just
No,
the
it would be
walkway.
overhanging the crash barrier, which in theory, if a semi-truck mounted the sidewalk and hit the barrier, they may also hit the outrigger with the cap. So we would have to investigate whether that's even allowed. That's a great point, and this conversation may not,
Yeah, well,
it may
maybe,
not be allowed.
maybe look into it, and if there's those kinds of things, then okay, it's a dead. But if not, it'd be one option.
I think in general, what I'm hearing is come back with a holistic design, like the
Yes.
bridge, the exhibit, whatever whatever form it's taking, whatever direction, like.
So would
having
you
it all.
guys object to this? Because this is what we did on the Moffett Bridge, is it became a charrette.
Okay.
I mean, we're all drawing, we're all sketching. And maybe that's not the way you're allowed to work. But it,
We can definitely do that.
yeah, I mean, it's, first of all, it's a lot of fun and everybody gets invested and we all hopefully come to the right conclusion. So, and we love to do that stuff.
Is that something that you would like at the June meeting?
Can we do that? We did do it in a meeting. We did it a couple of times. We didn't do it in one shot.
We will take your lead. We can charrette. These are all possibilities. I do want to make sure we
Yeah,
We could do it in a separate meeting.
I think it would be better in a separate meeting. It would have to be a public meeting. And
do it as a workshop.
that's fine, as long as it's a public workshop. And still need to get the first steps of the parameters, right? Like we talked about, all that stuff. And then you guys have sufficient time to noodle around with that and then come in with concepts and spend a Saturday morning doing it, or whenever we pick to do it. And then hopefully, in a perfect world, we can do it before the next June meeting. So that way you can make progress, because, the final timeline, I don't know where we sit, but I know it's coming quickly. And of course, don't want to rush anything, but if we can find something, let's try to find it and do it post haste.
To me, it's the way I spent
Yeah,
40 years
let's do
doing
it.
stuff.
Let's do it.
So, is that good with you guys?
It's good with them.
Sure speaks for me well. Okay, so we're just talking about, now, go back and say that again, Drew. We'd be better off doing it at the next meeting? Before the next.
If we can do it. We need to talk to Dan's team, get all the dates set up and see
Yeah, okay.
how to land on time, if it's possible.
Or do we just want people to go home and do their sketches and send them in to us, and then we'll have them before the next
No.
meeting for these guys to see?
Well,
They don't have enough information to do that.
Yeah.
so, job one is for them to give you the parameters to work within,
Yeah,
and also give yourself a shot, right? And start working through the general direction, integrated, all those concepts, and maybe there's something that we can start editing, working on, and workshopping.
yeah, yeah. And it's,
We start looking at circulating dates when we can get everybody together and try to
that'll
find,
be the hard part.
yeah. Yeah, but we'll
Main
get started.
The main reason I like that idea is that there is another bridge that we haven't talked about. It's the one that goes over 176 over the underpass, right by the train station. My opinion is that design-wise, that's the worst bridge I've ever seen. And we did not do a charrette regarding that one.
No, we were handed a pallet, and this is the
And they
best we can do.
what they came back to us and said is, this is what the state of Illinois requires,
Yeah,
and it's awful.
luckily, it's not very big.
Sorry, which bridge are we talking about? The
The
pedestrian
walking
bridge?
bridge, the
Right by
bike
the train
bridge.
station, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
with the
pedestrian-
chain link fence and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they've got vines growing on portions of that
Not
chain
enough.
link, so.
Okay, so,
In sharp contrast to the Glen Avenue footbridge. Right. I said, in sharp contrast to the Glen Avenue footbridge.
oh no, don't go there. All right, so are you gonna kind of coordinate this, Jeff or Drew, with these guys? And then,
We'll be in touch.
and then Mike, and kind of
Yep.
see when I'm available 99% of the time.
Okay.
Don't pick the 1%.
I will be unavailable from the 15th onward.
Oh,
the end of
okay.
the month, so.
15th.
But I trust you guys, so
The 15th until when? Will you be here back for the June meeting?
I'll be back for the June meeting, yes. Well, now I take that back. That's June 2nd, isn't it?
It might be.
So I won't be back. I come back the
So you're not
3rd.
working on your house? Are you moving out so they can do stuff?
Oh, we're all moved in.
I know you moved, you said you were doing stuff.
Well, the carpenter, they came in and installed the cabinet knobs this week, so that's,
All right, so
Yeah.
we're done then, I guess,
I
right?
think we are, which is perfect
Somebody
timing,
has
because I gotta
to,
go.
ask for an adjournment, unless anybody has anything else.
I make a motion that we,
Wait, but I'm curious to know what the Yacht Club Color Subcommittee came up with.
Okay,
for
the
colors.
Yacht Club Color Subcommittee came up with it started with going down and looking at the stuff down there. But anyway, we came up with I got a sample from the wood manufacturer of an old piece, and it was silver gray.
Okay.
Very nice. And so then we matched, instead of the white doors or the off-white doors, we went with the dark brown doors.
Oh, okay.
And then the trim is an off-white that is the color of the white that's the newer parts of the reclamation buildings.
Oh, okay.
And then the roof is the same as they offer, you know, the zinc-colored metal roof. And I had sent Taylor a message the other day. I don't know, the fence manufacturer probably has a very dark bronze. We
They
looked at the
do.
louvers on the all the black stuff, it's not really black, it's very dark bronze.
They do have one. I actually talked with them, actually called
Okay.
the salesperson, and they said they do. And it is a $250 upcharge to switch out the powder coating, or
So
switch out.
that's all, because he was
Yeah,
talking
it's
about
on
a lot of
stock.
money.
No, he said they have it in stock, it's $250 more
Is that per foot of fence?
for the fence, yeah.
Okay, good, because I'm glad you did that, because I assume that's what Matt did, we did it the other day on his computer, and so that's what he drew. And that's what Taylor took to the meeting last night. I assume that all took place.
I like the dark brown door, I think that's
It made
gonna
a
help.
huge difference.
I think it's gonna help tie it.
Yeah, it really
And if
did.
they could do the bronze fence, then I think maybe switch out the lights to the bronze, and I think it would be enough to tie it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's, you stand there and you say, you can make an argument that why are we trying to tie this stuff together? Because
You could.
they're so disparate.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be the newest thing down there. It's gonna shine like a new penny.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
When are they gonna do it? Are they gonna do it right away?
Well, I don't know, because.
Well,
How are they doing on the fundraising? Because I thought I understood him at the meeting, that they were gonna ask, members of the sort of general public as a fundraising, fund drive campaign to,
I don't know.
because it sure seems to me that that's gonna be a kind of tough sell to people.
Well,
Give us money so we can buy,
Yeah, no, he's,
create a place.
he said that night, he said, we've got the money, so I'm gonna assume that they've got the money.
Maybe they've got a donor.
So, maybe so.
Yeah, maybe someone stepped up.
But anyway, that's not our problem, and I thought that they were gonna wait until fall to start. But he says, they say they're in for permit now, right?
They applied for permit, yeah, but it's, they have to get permission from the village and the park district to work during the summer. And that's still up in the air whether they're gonna
Okay,
get
yeah,
that permission.
because
to
I was surprised
start
that
during
they
the summer.
were starting to
Yeah.
push forward, yeah.
Right.
What about the windows? What did you guys decide?
The windows themselves are, we said use the same dark bronze.
That'll be nice.
So it's gonna be
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah,
It's subtle.
that'll be good.
It doesn't jump
It's
out.
certainly gonna be so much better than what,
Huh?
Yeah.
it's gonna be certainly much better than what was there before.
Oh, totally.
Right.
That's not hard.
Although it's kind of charming in its crappiness.
That was all meant and built with volunteer labor.
I know.
Yeah.
I kind of love that about it, that it was so like Bluffy that way, but can we leave? Oh, do we adjourn?
Yeah, so we should make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're done.
All right, perfect.